Hi, I'm Ladon Sams with JR Americas. Today we're going to do a setup on the mini tags for the gyro system for JR. What we're going to be using here is we're going to use our Forza Speed that we just got done putting together. We're going to use the JR28X to do the setup on. And one thing you don't want to forget is a good old book here for the mini tags. You want to read it, you want to follow the instructions exactly like it shows on here. If you follow it and do everything exactly like it says, everything will work just fine. So, let's get started. Okay, we got our 28X booted up here. We're going to get ready to set up the radio. So to set up the radio, we go in here and we're going to travel back to the systems. First thing we're going to want to do is make sure our X bus setting is off. It's in op. We're good to go there. Next thing, we have swash type. So we're going to pick up the swash type. We're going to pick the type of swash that you got. In our case, it'll be this one here. It'll be 120 servos, 3, set up just like that. So we pick that. Obviously, you're going to want to set up a new model, pick your helicopter, and that kind of stuff, give it a name. I've already done that in this, so we're not going to go through that part of it there. So then we're going to go on into here, and we'll go to our channel settings. And in our channel settings, default will come up gyro 1 will be on channel 5. We're also going to want gyro 2 and gyro 3 so you can set your aileron and elevator gyros from the radio. So I have set up channel 7 as gyro 2. You can bring it up and you can pick gyro 2, put it in there. Channel 8 is gyro 3. And I've also set them up here to where they're all on this switch right here. So I can pick different gyro settings and then it's just that switch that's going to change it. If you want to use 3 different switches, you can. For us, we're just keeping it simple. We'll just use it there. That's how you set up your channels. You'll get out of that. And we'll go to the swash mixing. When you do the swash mixing, it's going to come up default as minus 60%, 50 and 50. Or I mean 60 and 60, it'll all be 60. I've changed them to 50. You want to change them all to 50%, you know, minus 50 on that one, then plus 50, plus 50. And then we'll get out of that. Okay, now what we'll do is, I've already got this bound up, but once you have these set up, and you want to make sure your sub trims are at 0, you want to make sure that your travel is all at 100%. And you have that, then you can bind it. The bind plug will go in right down here in this corner. And you'll put it in and then go through the bind method. Turn it on. Satellite will flash. And you just bind the radio then. Since this is already bound, I'm not going to go through that part of it. And go from there. So, you know what, I think what we'll do, just for grins and giggles in case I did change something, we will bind it here. Just so that we can make sure that everything's all set like we want. So we'll put that in. I just got me a little regulator system set up here. And then I'm going to go to the bind mode. And hit bind. We'll turn that on. And we have success already on the bind, so we're bound up. Everything's operational. Okay. So now we'll turn this off. And we'll pull the bind plug. Okay. Now we'll turn it back on. Let it go through its boot up. And then in order to get into the setup on the mini tags, we press and hold the center button. Lights will start flashing, you can release it, and as you can see the little gain light come on here, that means that the gains are shut off in the gyro, and we can go through the setup. So now what we'll do is we're going to go to the swash mixing, and we're going to take our pitch and put it at 0. And what that does is that centers up all of our servos so they're directly in the center of its travel. So now what we can do is we can go through and you can either use sub trim to set up your centers, or in our case we have the adjustable servo arms. So instead of using sub trim, all we do is loosen this up. We'll make sure we're square, tighten it back up, good to go. And we'll make sure all of them are that way on here, which we have. Alright, so now once we've gotten that, what we'll do here is we're going to put our 50% back into the pitch. Well, no, I take that back. We're going to hold on a minute here. Forgot one thing. We're going to make sure all of our servos are going the right direction. So we're going to bring up our servo reversing, and we'll move our sticks, make sure our servos are going the right way. Give them right aileron, we got right aileron. Left aileron, we got forward, backwards, and our rudder is going the right direction. If it was going the wrong direction, all we do is bring up the rudder. We can change it like that. Reverses our rudder. But in order for it to be going the right way, we need it like this. The one that I did have to change on my swash was the right aileron one, so that it would go the right direction. Now we have everything operational correctly. So our radio's set up. So we'll get out of that. So now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to calibrate the gyro to our sticks. So we need to move this little blue light up here to the calibration, which is the second one down. We've moved it up to there. And what we'll do in here is we'll go to gyro sense. We don't want to hold the servos, so we say no on that, and it'll bring this page up here, and it will have your gyros in there. If we press the center button, it brings up a sub menu, and there's calibration. We want to hit the calibration. On the 14XG, 11XG, and them, it'll be in your gyro, it'll just be back a little further in the pages. Another way you can do this is you can go into the swash mixing, and if you start out with the elevator, you take and turn the pitch and the aileron to 0, and you'll go through and then you'll put it back and so on through that. The calibration page will do that for you. You don't have to do any of that. So now what we're going to do to calibrate is we're going to press the center button, and that just lit the little red light on our elevator over here. So now what we're going to want to do to start this is I'm going to go to start on the elevator, yes, on the radio, and then press that button and that light will start flashing. Now I'll move the elevator. Once it's solid, it's done, we can stop, go to the next one. Whoops, I hit the button again, so we're going to start over with that one. I didn't move it, so that just goes to show that you don't have to change. You can just do it over again. You don't have to start the whole setup. So then we'll press this button over here. It'll move the red light down. We're going to hit start on the aileron. And the center button, it'll flash. We're going to move the aileron back and forth. And we got it. And then we're going to move the pitch. I'm not so sure that I put the 50% back into the pitch. This goes to show too. See, I didn't. So you can put this back in now if you want to. And it doesn't hurt a thing. And then we can go back to the gyro sense. No on that. Get that in calibration. And now we can do the collective. So we'll start this. We're going to press that one. Then we'll move the collective up and down. And then stop. Okay. That takes care of the calibration on it. The swash will do its little jump and show you that it's done. Lights all flashed. Now our calibration is done. So we can get out of this page. Alright, our next one will be the reverse. So we'll press this button that's underneath the blue light to move it to reverse. What this one does is this sets our gyro compensation. So what we'll do is we're going to press the center. It has the elevator lit up. What we'll do is we'll check it. Make sure our swash tip's back, which it's doing. So we're okay there. Now if we wanted to change this, what we'd do is we'd press the center. As you can see, my little red light on top is lit up. I wanted to move it over here. I would push this button and it would move it over here to this blue. Press set, and now it's set. Now if I check it, the compensation's going the wrong direction. So what we'll do is we want to hit set. I'll move it back over, set it again, and now it's over there. So now if I check, compensation's right. So then we'll move to aileron. We're going to check the aileron. And right now my aileron's going the right direction, so I don't have to do anything with it. So then we're going to push that button again. It's going to move to the rudder, and I will check the rudder. And the rudder's moving the right way also. Once again, if I need to reverse the rudder, I just press set, and I'd move that over to here by pushing this button, and it would put the light over here. Hit set again, and now my rudder is backwards if I move this, which it is backwards. So I'll hit set again. I'll push that button over there so it moves the red light over there. Hit set. Done. And now my compensation's the right way. That's all there is to it on setting that up. So now we're going to go to, we'll push and hold this button, because that light was still lit up. It was wanting to stay in there. So you push and hold, and it'll make this light, little blue light, solid. We can move it down to limit. And this is where we're going to set our throws. So we will hit set, and it'll bring up our elevator light over there. So first we're going to set our throws on the elevator. So we'll hit set. We move the elevator back, and when we get to just about bind, we'll hit set. Now another way you can do this is you can turn this sideways, and you can set it and see where your degrees is, and then go the other way and you can set your degrees for ease of figuring on this one and stuff. I'm just going to do it this way. Now we're going to go forward elevator. So we'll hit set again. We're going to move it forward till just about bind and hit set. And now our elevator limits are set. So now we're going to move to aileron. And we're going to give it right aileron. Actually, we got to hit set. It starts flashing, and it'll move very slowly, and we can set how much aileron we want. If we go too far with the right, We can bump it back with the left, see we can move it back, and you can set it to wherever you want. Just before bind, hit set. It's going to come back, and we're going to hit set again, and we'll do the other side. And hit set again. Aileron's taken care of. We're going to press this button. We'll go to rudder, and we're going to hit set, and we'll give it rudder until it's right there. We'll hit set, and the slider will move back to the middle. We'll hit set again. We'll do the other direction. And we'll hit set, and our limits are all set. Okay. Press this button, hold it again, and your mini tags is set up. Now, what you can do to set your pitches on what you want and stuff like that. So what we're going to do first off, we're going to get out of this, so I'm just going to turn it off. And I got a battery that feels like my my regulator's getting a little warm. I'm just going to put another battery on this thing that's going to turn it down a little bit. Okay, turn it back on. We'll go through its pitch bumps, and it's good to go. So, now we got everything's operational. Everything looks good. So now what we're going to do is you can set up your pitches and everything that you want. You can do that right here in your swash mix. So if you go into the swash mixing, and if you don't have enough pitch, you can take and turn your pitch up or down just a little bit to whatever suits your fancy on the pitch. Say you got 45% there. You kind of want to keep these below 60%. The gyro doesn't like it when these are above 60. If you're above 60, you might change your limits in the gyro again. But if you got more aileron than what you want, or elevator, either one, you can bring it up, and you can change them in here with your swash mixing. Or say you need a little more, you can go 55 there, and you may only need 52 there. It doesn't really make any difference, but then that will give you your swash mixing. Okay, and then your rudder, it's already set, so it's not a problem. But basically, there's your setup on the mini tags. It's all good to go. If you are using it on a 700, I would not recommend using just this satellite. If it was me, you could use either the RA02TL, which is a long-range satellite with dual antennas on it. Or another thing you can use is this converter harness. And I have one here, looks like right here. You can use this converter harness here, and it will convert from the receiver, a regular receiver, to the mini tags. It'll plug in. You can use a regular full range receiver on that. So that's a good option for the 700. Personally, myself, I would use this, and I would use the long range receiver and stuff. I probably wouldn't use just the satellite. I'd be afraid it would go out of range. So there you go. Setup's quick, setup's easy, and the gyro will work real good. Make sure your corrections are the right directions before you take that helicopter off. because you will not save it. It will flip it over. As long as you make sure that's all good to go, set your gains up. You can start out at around 50%, 60%. That's generally a pretty good area. You'll maybe turn the rudder up to 80 and start out from there, and leave your head at around 60%. And it's real easy. You can sit there and adjust that stuff right there in the radio just by turning your percentages up and down. So there you go. Good to go. Have fun and good luck.